start with
This meeting is being recorded.
welcome to the 37th episode of Adal Cordillera entitled Recruitment Guide, Finding the Right People for the Team. Mabuhay, I am John Bernilum O and I will be your host for tonight's webinar. So we are very thrilled to have you all here with us, and our goal for this webinar is to provide a platform for participants to learn and enhance their skills and knowledge in knowing the right people for the team. So we have carefully planned the event to ensure a smooth flow and valuable experience for everyone involved. Now, let us proceed to our short icebreaker. So for our short icebreaker, it is about choosing between two pictures. So we have here our mechanics. Choose between the two pictures which is better characteristic or ugali po ng isang member or isang team member. And then next is to explain why and what is the importance of such team member. Okay? So to make our short icebreaker more easier, I will call random people in our webinar. And I hope that everyone will be participative enough. So hindi lamang po listening skills ang ating hinuhone here sa ating Adult Cordillera, but also our communication and participation skills. Okay? To proceed with, may I call on... Okay, are you guys ready? Charot. Wait lang guys. Ayan. May I call on... Ayan. Sir Lorly Villanueva. Is Sir Lorly there? One. Ay. Are you there, sir? Okay. One, two. Okay. Okay. I'll call another participant of our webinar. May I call on Ma'am Shell. HR Shell. Aga. We have a human resource pala dito sa ating webinar. Ma'am Shell, are you there?
Hi, good afternoon. Yes, sorry, on and off kasi yung net ko. What's the question again?
Um, for our short icebreaker, ma'am, we will just choose between the two pictures and then explain or what is the importance of such team member po. For our first picture, we have an aggressive team member and then we have a composed team member. For you, ma'am, what is more better po, the characteristic ng isang team member?
I think for me, a combination of both is good. Compose kasi kailangan the way you deliver your words, the way you become a team leader, you should be composed. With aggressive naman, for me, I consider it yung ano niya lang, yung thinking but not the behavior.
Yes, which is true, ma'am. Because being aggressive, especially on their behavior, can escalate tensions and create barriers for better collaborations. Which is, yes, and I hope that being aggressive is nasa utak lang dapat natin na kunwari, and we should be aggressive in a good way na parang, kailangan ko tong gawin. Ayan. Thank you so much, Ma'am Shell. Now let us have
Welcome
our
po.
short, next pictures. Okay. Now may call on Sir Ronald. Sir Ronald Lirio.
Hi, good afternoon.
Sir
Hi,
Ronald,
yes, good
are
afternoon.
you... Ayan, good afternoon, sir. Now for these pictures, what do you think a better characteristic for a leader naman po? An authoritative one or a transformational leader naman po?
I think yung transformational leader, kasi sometimes yung approach ng pagiging authoritative natin, lalo na yung mga sa sa baba natin, minsan may misunderstand nila. So, nagkakaroon ng minsan conflict pa sa trabaho. Sa akin kasi ang approach ko doon, yung transformational is hinuhon natin yung mga nasa baba natin para maging mas effective yung team. Yun lang. Thank you.
Yes. Ayan, thank you, Sir Ronald, which is true, transformational leadership emphasizes motivating and inspiring others, which is, critical for long-term success and team morale. So it encourages innovation and personal development, which is what Sir Ronald said na it hones yung mga nasa baba or nasa lower hierarchy ng ating mga um, businesses or yung mga organizations natin. Thank you so much, Sir Ronald. Okay.
Thank you din.
Now let us have our next pictures. Okay. Now may call on Miss Danica Lingad. Miss Danica, are you around?
Hello, good afternoon. Hello.
Ayan. Hello po, Miss
Hi,
Danica.
hi. Hello,
Afternoon.
good afternoon.
Okay. For our short icebreaker, ma'am, you are going to choose one picture or a characteristic of a team member po. So for this picture po, what characteristic of a team member is more appropriate, an active or inactive listening po?
For me, it's active. Lalong-lalo na sa ano namin, sa um lalo na kasi sa sales kami. I think yung mga tao namin is active sila sa pag-assist and more on selling, active for selling to achieve their target quota. So that's it.
Yes, which is true because sometimes inattentiveness can cause misunderstandings and errors. So it signals a lack of respect, which undermines team cohesion and productivity. And I hope, Ma'am Danica, that you will have more sales po sa inyong, department po.
Okay, thank you.
So, Ma'am Danica, now let us
so
proceed
much.
to our second to the last picture. May call on Sir John Michael Castro. Sir John Michael, are you around? Okay, Sir John. Now may call on another participant from our webinar. May call on Miss Christine Saporna. Miss Christine, are you around?
Hi, good afternoon. I'm around. I'm present.
Okay. So, hello Ma'am
Hi, good
Christine. Good
afternoon.
afternoon po. Okay. So, Ma'am, for our short icebreaker po, you are to choose between our two pictures, which is reflects po yung
Yes.
characteristics of a team members. What do you think, Ma'am? A collaborative planning or independent planning
I
po?
think collaborative planning kasi kapag collaborative planning siya, you're able to get the insights or opinions of your other team member. And because of that, kapag silang participate silang lahat, mas ma-reach niyo yung goal ninyo as a team. Yun
Yes.
po.
Which is true, Ma'am. Because collaborative planning fosters teamwork, creativity, and diverse perspectives, leading to better decision making and more innovative solutions. And thank you so much, Ma'am Christine. Now let us proceed to our last. Tama ba? Wait lang.
Alam mo yan, wala. My name is so familiar. So, I
Okay, so unfortunately, may hindi po pala ako nalagay, but we have another picture po dapat dyan, which is the indirect communication versus direct communication. So it fosters po yung backstabbing or yung under the indirect communication, or doon naman sa direct communication po naman is yung confronting your team member in a good way. So of course, as a student or also a person who have worked already, I think it is better to have a direct communication because it ensures clarity, reduces misunderstanding, and builds trust. So it encourages open dialogue and fosters a culture of transparency. Sometimes we settle already to indirect communication because maybe some of us are afraid to confront our team members na may nagawang mali or may nagawang hindi tama sa kanilang mga trabaho. But of course, guys, as we grow older, it is better to have a better communication towards our, workmates because it fosters a healthier, workplace, healthier workplace. So, there we have tackled, the aggressive versus composed, which is um, which is it is better to have a more composed self, especially in going to our workplace because sometimes yung mga problema po natin sa bahay is nadadala natin sa mga trabaho natin, which makes us more aggressive, or which makes us aggressive, 'di ba? Hindi lamang sa ating mga katrabaho, but sometimes nagiging aggressive din tayo sa ating mga clients. And we have also showed you the authoritative leadership versus transformational leadership, which is this generation, it is better to have a transformational leadership rather than authoritative. Siguro nung mga nasa elementary tayo or high school, back the days, siguro sanay tayo na authoritative leadership yung leaders natin. I mean, authoritative sila. But as we grow older, as we are already working or studying in college, I think it is better to have a leader who is transformational enough rather than being authoritative one. And we also have the active listening and versus inactive listening. So of course, as a team member, as a subordinate, 'di ba? Na parang it is good for us if napapakinggan tayo ng mga boss natin, ng mga manager natin. That helps us to have a better, better workforce sa ating mga trabaho. We have also the collaborative planning versus the independent planning, where, we have, for us, it is better to, most of us, we have chosen, we can choose the collaborative planning because sometimes, one brain is, more than one brain is good rather than being or working alone. And lastly, the indirect communication versus direct communication. And I thank everyone for participating in our short icebreaker. So I hope that nabigyan na kayo ng unting mga pasaring sa ating topic for tonight. With that, it is time to introduce our speaker for today's webinar. So our speaker is a dedicated professional with a wealth of experience across various fields, including leadership, development, disaster management, and community advocacy. She is currently an active member of the Philippine Society for Talent Development, where she contributes to honing the skills of talent developers. She is also an active member of the Cordillera Young Leaders Club. So we came from the same Batch Hiraya. So CYLC is an organization naman po committed to transformational leadership and sustainable development in the region where me and our speaker belongs to. So since 2023, our speaker has served as an instructor and coach of the Philippine Military Academy, specializing in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and Judo. Her role includes mentoring cadets in sports development and managing search and finance-related tasks. So her leadership experience extends to her 15 years tenure with the Samahan ng Kabataang Episkopal sa Pilipinas, where she held positions such as National Treasurer and Chapter President. In her previous roles, our speaker demonstrated her expertise in disaster response and project development as a project development officer for the Department of Social Welfare and Development, where she led initiatives under the Sustainable Livelihood Program and disaster preparedness efforts. She also served as a revenue officer at the Bureau of Internal Revenue and an operations officer at the Office of Civil Defense Cordillera Region. Our speaker holds a Master of Business Administration degree from the University of the Cordilleras and has earned a Civil Service Professional Certification. Her numerous projects and training programs include financial literacy workshops, disaster risk reduction initiatives, and fitness development programs. So with a strong passion for service and community development, our speaker continues to be a catalyst for change in the Cordillera region and beyond. Ladies and gentlemen, let us have a virtual round of applause to Miss Jezebel B. Padtok. Ma'am Jez!
Hello, good afternoon everyone. Naririnig ba ako?
Yes po, ma'am.
Yes
Okay.
po.
So, a cold afternoon from the beautiful mountains of Cordillera. So for this afternoon, we'll be talking about on how to find the right one for the team. So, pag-uusapan natin dito kung paano yung recruitment. Kasi alam ko naman pag sa labas pinag-uusapan ng paano hanapin yung right people or right person para sa inyo. Later on, mapag-uusapan natin yung mga ibang questions ninyo, but I do hope that during our discussion, matouch or madiscuss na natin yung yung ibang mga katanungan ninyo. So once again, I'm Jez. So you can just call me Jez. So we'll proceed now to the next slide. Tech team. Ayon. So our objectives for this afternoon would be, first, we'll be defining recruitment and we'll identify its processes through case or through looking into the recruitment process F1 of the company. Then second, we'll look into the issues and dilemmas concerning recruitment. And then third, we'll be jumping onto the legal measures. So what are the basic legal implications of recruitment? And lastly, what are the tips on how we can hire the right person for the job or the right person for the team? As a while ago, you have an activity and you mentioned there which of the two characteristics or personality you prefer. So moving forward, let us look into Google. So I entitled this one, Google Made It. Because if you're going to look into its recruitment process, it's very rigorous and it's very nerve-wracking. So one of the notable technique that Google utilized in 2006 to target students or to target employees is the thing they called as targeted and unobtrusive approach. So if you're going to look into the bold items, it states there that they opened a portal or they allowed people from these schools to access search portal of Google, wherein the students' IP addresses would be identified to see from what organization this person belongs. So at first, you can see that their goal is to really recruit the best students in certain schools and universities. So Google is known for what? You can utilize our chat. Sa ano bang industry sikat ang Google? Anybody from the group? They're known in internet search engine technology. Yes. So they're known in technology. So that's their first system. So they call it the micro targeted approach. Why it's micro? Because they narrowed down their market to the best students. They narrowed down their search to the best students from the universities. And then on the same year, they also put up the idea of employee referral program. So with this program, it delivered them world-class employees whose personality, qualifications, and work ethics reflect the Google standards. So looking into this strategy alone, we can see that Google has their own principle, has their own vision and mission when it comes to recruitment. So dito pa lang nagkakaroon na tayo ng idea that we need to narrow down our choices. So kung sa labas, marami kang choices sa mga nanliligaw sa'yo, i-narrow down mo yun into such thing na mapipili mo o makukuha mo yung personality, yung knowledge, yung grit, and then yung qualification and experience and exposure ng taong hinahanap mo. So, ganun katindi ang Google. So, as we go along the slides, makikita nyo kung paano sila mag-hire. So, next slide. This was in 2007. They developed simple and effective assessment tool to screen millions of applicants all over the world via an algorithm assessment tool. So they used algorithm. So what is your idea when we talk about algorithm? What is your idea when we're talking about algorithm? Anybody from the group? We see algorithm in our day-to-day life. A process flow, steps, okay. Programming pattern, yes. Algorithm is, if we make it simpler, it's a certain pattern. It's a certain repeated action or a repeated effect that we see in an undertaking or an activity. So they have used or they have made use of algorithm in order to separate the top and best performers. So when there is an algorithm or there is a pattern that they want to see, that also implied that they also have their own criteria. They have their own standard. They have set their standard and criteria in order to identify that certain algorithm so that they can they can separate the top performers from the thousands of candidates vying for a position, because we all know that Google is one of the most sought or one of the companies wherein a lot of people would want to apply to. And then this algorithm method or assessment tool reduce the reliability of interviews. So here in the Philippines, still the things that we do or the final indicator of our hiring would be interviews or the final interview. But in Google, they have they tweak it. They have innovations when it comes to recruitment. So further, the algorithm approach, which is a common business model that employs employee, was effectively used to assess whether potential candidates can indeed perform given the high performance standards of Google. So what are let's have a snapshot, or let's have an idea of what these applicants have experienced. So next slide. Okay. This is an article based on the article that was released in New York Times in 2007. They shared that Google management sought the aid of its highly competent and well-skilled technical staff in order to find ways to quickly go through and review the millions of applications stored in its recruitment database. So for the HR individual there, or to those who have experience hiring, we know already how hard it is to screen participants or to screen the applicants. And Google had made use of technology, of its expertise in order to find ways on how they can review the millions of applications. Moving forward, and it also mentioned that they shifted focus from academic qualifications and technical experiences to the applicant's personality, creativity, leadership capacities, innovative and non-conventional ways of thinking, and the applicant's overall exposure to the world. So with Google, we do not talk about academic qualifications, we do not talk about technical experiences, but we're talking about personality, creativity, leadership capacities, innovative and non-conventional ways of thinking. And one tool that they use in order to check the personality, or in order to come up with responses which will show if you are if you have if you are good with the following criteria that we want, is that they use and personality inventory. So this is a personality test, or this is a psychological test which is being used by Google. This is just one. So moving forward, another step is that there are also several people who have experienced the recruitment, and they said that it's totally nerve-wracking. And one of the applicants who underwent interviews for Google has 5 to 7 interviews in one day for 2 to 3 straight days. And the questions are not just so, because it will be filled with brain teasers, algorithmic problems, and IQ tests. Why? Because they are more into technology. They are more into computer programming, data generation, which was mentioned a while ago. Moving forward. So the interviewers were looking for extremely bright individuals. And so the recruitment methods was filled with IQ tests, brain teasers, algorithms, data structures, and a lot of mathematics involved in it. Kaya, kita nyo naman, or as we can see, they have used algorithm at the very first in order to address this issue of recruitment in their company. So moving forward, there were many instances when the applicants were asked to write codes, brainstorm, role play, or solve mathematical equations on the spot to prove that they are highly skilled and competent. So they are even tested in their marketing skills, even if the applicant is applying for highly technical position. So why do you think that Google even tested the marketing skills of those who are applying for highly technical, or even for those who are applying for highly technical positions? What do you think is the reason? What do you think is the reason you can utilize our chat box? Going once, going twice. You can tell anything that you know, or like you can tell any idea that comes into your mind. They have holistic approach. Yes. Okay. So with what Ma'am Christine had mentioned, Google is a holistic company or a holistic entity. As you can see, they don't only create applications, but they also market them, or they even create marketing applications. That is why uh, they are even tested with their marketing skills, because the company has identified that in time these applications, these websites, or these products, they will be marketing it. So it's very crucial, or it's very important for everyone to have marketing skills, since business is more on um and since one of the goal of a business is to generate profit, it's to generate sales. So that is the reason why even those who are applying for different position is being tested in the level of its marketing skills. Kasi hindi lang dapat sales, hindi lang dapat marketing yung marunong. It has to be everyone. Because when they go out and the people knows that they are from Google, of course they will ask. And then there comes, or here comes, their marketing skills. So that's one of the strategy also, word of mouth, in order to market products. So with this, balik po tayo. So with this strategy that they do, that they ask applicants to do a lot of things, they gain control and power over the applicants, letting them do everything just to prove that they're worthy for the position. So sometimes, tayo hindi naman ganun yung experience natin here in the Philippines. There may be some, but there are some na hindi natin mararamdaman yun, because the process is fast. But when it comes to Google, it's very long, and there are a lot of things that they have to go through. So the common questions would involve the things which Google is known for. So it's not only a test of intellect, but it is a test of personality. It's a test of patience. It's a test of who is willing to stay until the end. Moving forward, this is also one of the thrill when it comes to the hiring of Google. They let other applicants, or they let the applicants share and rate each other. And this and this forms part of their matrix in hiring the applicant, whether or not they will be hired. So the overall process is lengthy, tedious, and nerve-wracking, which can possibly traumatize anyone whose dream is to work for one of the most prestigious company in the world. So imagine that. Kung mag-a-apply ka dito sa Pilipinas, tapos you rate each other, and then you do these things, and then you do that thing. Hindi ko na alam kung ano yung magiging reaction natin. But this is one of the innovations of Google. So moving forward, so ayun, bago tayo dumako sa topic natin, or pag-usapan kung ano yung definitions and everything, what are your observations, or um, what are your observations on the strategies of Google based on the previous slides? Ano yung nakita nyo na buy-in nila sa mga applicants, or buy-in ng process nila? You can utilize our chat box. What's your observation? What are the processes that they imply or they make use in order to hire? Yes, from Xiaomi M201A7DJ. Sir, ma'am, you're right. They are hiring the most competent applicant. What are your other observations? They're looking into the long-term plan of the company when hiring employees, and that's right. And as human resource personnel, we must always look into the long-term plan of the company when we define or when we design the competitive based job description during the planning phase. Others, what are your insights on the case of Google? They hire the most competent applicant. They look into the long-term plan of the companies. What else? They use different tools in selecting qualified candidates. Yes, they are molding the character of the applicant. Exactly. Okay, thank you very much for those who have shared their insights. Now we move on to how we define recruitment. So as you can see on the screen, it's the process of identifying and attracting job seekers so as to build a pool of qualified job applicants. So when you hear the word recruitment, what comes in your mind? Aside from the definition which is given or which is flashed in the screen. Or can you share to me what's your memorable experience when you were an applicant, when you were the one who's applying for the job or a certain job that you badly want? What can you remember or what can you recall from your experience? And I think there are OJTs here. So for the OJTs or the college students, for the students, you can just type in or key in on the chat box. What comes in your mind when you hear the word recruitment? Okay, attracting and selecting suitable candidates for a job position. Thank you, Miss Maika, Ella, others. Sa mga working, what can you remember when you're applying for your job right now or when you applied for a job? You are showcasing your skills and talents, getting as much qualified applicants for the position. Yeah, so let me tell to you that what I always remember when I apply, what's a funny experience when I applied for a job is that there are a lot of processes. And in those processes, I realize if do I really want to do this kind of job or not. And then sometimes I also check the profile of the company. Does the value of the company align to my principles, to my morals? And from that, I sometimes decide not to continue, or I'm sometimes decide to continue, given from what I will find out with the company profile or with the projects and the advocacies of the company. Yes, screening, um, manpower. So all what you mentioned are correct. Sourcing, screening, and conducting initial interviews for potential applicants. Right people with right number for to be selected for a job position. So thank you very much for your insights. Let's move forward to the steps, or what could be the processes that will undergo when we are recruiting or under recruitment. So it starts first with planning, and then strategy development, and then searching, and then screening, and then the evaluation and control. So when we talk about planning, next slide, please. When we talk about recruitment planning, it involves the translation of likely job vacancies and information about the nature of these jobs into set of objectives or targets. So in recruitment planning, in there we plan, we craft the job description, we craft the job specification, we craft the compensation and benefit package, and we even craft the competitive based job description. Also, in planning, it doesn't stop there. We also identify the career path. We sometimes it's being forgotten, but the training or the personal development of the employee or the personnel that we are hiring must be considered in the recruitment planning. Like if you get this person on board, you pay them, you give them bonuses, you give them benefits. But what are your plans? Like in 1 year, what is your goal? What are the changes or what are the impacts that you want that person to encounter or to experience? Like after 5 years, is she already a supervisor? Is she already a line supervisor, unit supervisor? So that's one of the things that we need to carefully consider in recruitment planning, because if we only plan for to employ them, then I think where we will be facing problems in the future, because of course people will always ask what's in it, in what's in it for me. What will make the people stay is that if they can feel or they will feel that the company has a plan for them. So aside from designing the competitive based job description, the job specification, the compensation and benefit package, the contract, the terms and agreements, the start point, the end point, the probationary period, it's also crucial to plan on what would happen to the people we will be able to hire on the certain position. And then next would be strategy development. So next previous slide, that thing. So with strategy development, this will come with the identification of what types of recruitment and how many are required, and concentration to first, are we going to employ or are we going to hire from agencies, or are we going to hire from the inside? Secondly, technological sophistication of recruitment and selection devices. You can observe that some of the companies have their own website. It's like, for example, Unilab, Ricket Benckiser, FWD Philippines, and other companies. They have, you will be needing to sign up with their website, and from there on, they will be contacting you. Most of the time, you can take your exam through their websites, and then the final interview would be through via Zoom or via face-to-face on their office, so that it falls under the technological sophistication of the device or the tools that you're going to use. And then secondly, geographical distribution of labor markets comprising job seekers. So in here, this is more on if there will be assignments or area distribution. This can also be considered because, of course, why would you hire somebody from Manila if you will assign him or her in Baguio? So to lessen the cost, you will be hiring somebody or someone from this area. So it forms part also. And then next, sources of recruitment. How are you going to recruit? Is it through online? Is it through website? Through agency? Through job fair, trade fair, referral from the university? So there are a lot of sources of recruitment, but in strategy development, you need to choose on where you will incur lesser cost. And then lastly, the sequencing the activities in the recruitment process, because every company has its unique and peculiar processes when it comes to recruitment. So those are the things that you're going to consider in strategy development, including how are you going to conduct the exam, what would be the contents of the examination, what type of psychological exam are you going to use for this certain hiring or for this certain position, because every position has different psychological exam they need to undergo. Or are you going to consider social experiment in hiring? Are you going to consider focus group discussion? So those are the things that which is being considered in strategy development. What are your strategies? How are you gonna orchestrate, or how are you gonna what's your blueprint in doing the whole recruitment process? Moving forward, in here the searching. So in searching we have two: the source activation and the selling. The source activation is a method wherein it's activation by issuing an employee requisition. So this means that when you activate the source, you need somebody or someone from the high manage or top level management sign the vacancy or approve of the hiring for the vacancy, because that's where the searching starts. It needs to be it needs to be approved by authority. That is one of the basics in our labor code. And the next selling, the second issue to be addressed when it comes to searching is the selling of the company. So we are tied on two considerations here. The one is we must resist temptation in overselling the company. And then second is the message in the media. So the message is the employment advertisement, and it's the media. It may be stated that the effectiveness. So are we using the right media or the right channel in advertising our hiring or our company, or in advertising our company to job seekers? So that's the two things when it comes to searching. First one is the approval of the top management, and second one would be how are we gonna market our company. So moving forward, previous slides. Ayun. So, yun, moving forward, after the in the searching phase, dun mo na kasi ipopost yung yung job market or yung job posting. So we can source out our applicants through number one, company website, LinkedIn, online sites, ang dami, job fairs, referrals or agencies. We can hire through agency. Universities or the alumni, you can contact the university if they can refer their graduates. Google did that. And then rank up internal employee, and then print ads. So those are the platforms where we can source applicants. Aside from those who will walk in or those who will personally submit, we can also consider those who have applied before, wherein we see is suitable for the position. So before we proceed with the next slide, I'll give 3 minutes bladder break to everyone.
Tá? Então, de Samatos, daí.
Hello po, reminding po everyone again to please change your names into your actual names. Your attendance is being monitored as of right now. Please kindly refrain also from unmuting yourself as the discussion is ongoing po. Thank you so much and please have your bladder break. Thank you so much. Okay. Once again, reminding everyone to please change your name into your actual names as the attendance is being monitored, and please do not unmute yourself during the discussion. Ma'am Jess, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. And I do hope makapag-bladder break tayo. So we move forward to the next part of our discussion, which is on screening. So screening of applicants can be regarded as an integral part of the recruiting process. So based on our review a while ago on the strategy of Google of screening, what can you recall of their strategy when it comes to screening their applicants? You can utilize our chat box to share your answers. Anybody from the group? Okay, one thing that we can observe with Google's strategy is that they have utilized of technology and they maximize their manpower to develop a system or a tool wherein they can separate the applicants through basing from their academic qualifications or performance. Moving forward, the last would be your evaluation. So it might include the return rate of applications sent out, the number of suitable candidates for selection, retention and performance of the candidates selected, cost of the recruitment process, time-lapse data, and comments on image suggestions. So as recruitment officers, those are the things that we can use to evaluate if our recruitment was successful or we need to improve it from time to time. Moving forward, we now discuss the issues and dilemmas when it comes to recruitment. So when we're talking about recruitment, there are different alternatives. We have outsourcing or reducing the utilization of agency, contingent labor, part-time or hiring of part-time individuals or on-call individuals, or employing overtime. So aside from hiring new individuals, companies can either opt to do such processes, and sometimes it's becoming a debate with the top executives of the company. Because why do you need to hire if you can resort to such things? It's like the idea of finance, which is, are we gonna make or are we gonna buy? So the make would be the alternatives, and the buy would be hiring, and the net would be the operational cost. Or are we just gonna promote from this individual and then we just raise the salary, or we add additional compensation? So that's the second dilemma. There are alternatives, and then the next would be the operational cost that's being incurred during the recruitment process. So which is which, or which will the company benefit from? Hiring or promoting individuals, or resolving to alternatives to recruit. And then the third one would be nepotism. So any idea or anything, anyone who can talk about nepotism, because nepotism is it's very common here in the Philippines. Nepotism. What is your idea about nepotism? Yes, it's hiding a relative in a position. Do you agree with nepotism? And do you think that practice of goodness, that there is a positive impact or effect on the practice of nepotism here in the Philippines? Because nepotism in politics is political dynasty. Do you think that it's detrimental or it's beneficial for the society to practice nepotism? Anybody? Naririnig ba? Ayun. So, naintindihan nyo ba from item number 1? Or do I need to discuss it again? Okay, so what do you think is um what can you say about nepotism? So is it beneficial or is it detrimental to the society? Because the counterpart of nepotism in politics is political dynasty. Thank you, Ms. Miriam, and thank you for those who are tuning. Yes, nepotism for me as an individual, as a person who was working, it's detrimental because it defeats the purpose of growth or the mission or the vision of the company. And you can see what is the effect of nepotism in our country through what is happening in the politics or the political system of our country right now. I don't need to mention, and because I don't need to mention already, but I know you know those politicians who have been practicing such things. And yes, John Erickson, you're right. It's causing a lot of conflict of interests. So that's one of the issues or dilemmas, which is making the recruitment industry in the Philippines very sick. It's one of the cancer of the society. Yeah, exactly. So thank you for those who ano, have shared their insights. It's very detrimental talaga sa society po namin. Yeah, it's walang equal chance, walang equal fighting chances given to our applicants. So moving forward, we also have dilemmas and issues on the relationship between economy and labor market conditions because they have relationship also. When the economy is strong, the labor market is there. We expect low turnout of applicants since a strong economy means that a lot of individuals are employed or are working. But when the economy is weak, then the labor market would be very high, or those searching for work would be many. So we will expect a high turnout of applicants. So it's it's inversely proportional. So when the economy is strong, the labor market is low. When the economy is weak, the labor market is high. And then other issues also when it comes to hiring and recruitment would be social and political issues like discrimination in hiring, and then violence against women and children, discrimination against the disadvantaged sector of the society, person with disability, pregnant women, solo parent, elderly, and the child labor. So those are sometimes becoming an issue and concern when it comes to recruitment. Because only a few company would hire PWD or pregnant women or would take solo parent or elderly with them, given also the limitations of the company as well as the job that is required in order to perform the task or to deliver the service or the product of the company. we also consider political issues. It's like, for example, with with Ukraine and Russia war. You saw what happened with ABS-CBN. So those are the things which is also affecting the recruitment processes. And lastly, we also need to consider or to look into the profile or the cultural profile of the applicant. Does it jive or does it connect with the company values and organizational culture? So those are the social and political issues that we consider in recruitment. And yes, thank you very much, Miss Raylene. Also in religion, especially that we have brothers and sisters na Muslim or Buddhist from other religion. We also need to consider kung ano yung pwede at hindi sa kanila when they are applying to our company. So, as a recruitment officer, if this person from this certain religion, ano yung task na pwede sa kanya at ano yung hindi pwede. And then, you need also to craft a device on guiding them sa kung paano sila papasok sa company ninyo or sa company na hindi naman kailangan nilang i-sacrifice kung ano yung religious belief nila or religious practice nila. So, those are just classic issues and dilemmas that we encounter here in the Philippines. So, moving forward, next slide. We have the legal measures on recruitment. So, I chose 3. So, what is RA 10122? So this is not applicable to domestic workers, but this is applicable to migrant workers. RA 10022 is the Migrant Workers and Overseas Filipinos Act. So this addresses illegal recruitment, and those found guilty of large-scale illegal recruitment will face life imprisonment and fines from 500,000 to 1 million pesos. And the labor code says that we cannot conduct any recruitment activities by non-licensees or non-holders of authority. And we cannot also conduct illegal activity which includes jobs that are harmful to public health or morality. So you already know what those jobs are. What are those jobs? So those are the basic, but if you want to know more, or if you want to scrutinize more, you can read on these 2 laws or these 2 regulations, because these 2 regulates the recruitment or the labor operations here in the Philippines, especially the labor code. You see there, how do you treat resignation? How do you treat the allowances? How do you treat part-time jobs, job orders? There are a lot of specifications in addressing those kinds of employment activities. Moving forward, next slide. So we're down to the last. Basing on the things that I've read and my observations, how do we find the right person? The first one is we need to be creative. From the planning alone, you need to be creative already. So if it's technical, you need to create a recruitment plan which will lead you to the technical person. If it's more on clerical, you need there's another approach, or there's another plan for that position. If it's managerial, there is another plan again for that position. So you need to be creative on how you're gonna craft your recruitment process. And then secondly, you need to be observant. And basing from your observation, you can craft your own innovation, you can craft your own style. And when it comes to the applicants, you can observe them also. Observe their attitude, observe how they deal with the recruitment process, and you can observe them also through using the social experiments that I have mentioned a while ago. It's like 2 months ago that I was able to watch a video in Facebook wherein this certain company used social experiment to hire their manager. So it's like theoretical yung name ng company, but the social experiment really showed the personality of the two competing individuals for the position. And then, aside from being creative and being observant of your of the things around you, next you need to stick with company values, and then you need to align it with the applicant if it jives or it goes or it dwells with them. Because if it's not, we're just wasting your money and the resources of the company. And then lastly, we need to focus on the goal. The goal is to hire the right person, not the person who is close to you or not the person you want to be hired. It's still to hire the right person. So it's very simple to find the right person. Be creative. Do not get tired of being creative. Do not get tired of researching. Do not get tired designing different methods or different techniques or different tools in order to hire the right person for your team. And then next, be observant. Observe everything which you think is beneficial to you. And then stick with company values, or just stick with company values, and then lastly, focus on the goal. By doing these 4 things, innovating, crafting idea, you can find the right person for your team. Moving forward, if you want to know more about what I have discussed, you can find it on MBA Knowledge Base and in Harvard Business Review. However, Harvard Business Review requires a certain fee which we need to settle so that you can browse or you can read on their materials. And then last is the case study on Google's recruitment process. And moving forward, that ends my discussion. And are there any questions and clarifications? So I guess I'll just Okay, from Miss Ira Jane Nablo, what is the most used psychological test for the recruitment process, especially those that is applicable for school employees? Teacher ba to, ma'am? Are they teachers? Okay. So, ano,
I
ma'am,
see. Thank you.
when it comes to when it comes to psychological test kasi ma'am, mostly um ang na-experience ko na psychological test na pinagawa is the Myers-Briggs test and yung MMSP-2. Pero if titignan natin kasi yung design ng ng ginamit ng Google, the Hogan Personality Inventory, I think maganda rin to na gamitin. Kasi it's testing the creativity and the character of the individual who's taking it. Actually, madami din siyang questions, but doon nakakakuha ng magaling na employees ang Google. So, ang na-experience ko lang is Myers-Briggs and yung MMSP2. Pero I can tell na, pero depende pa rin kung ano yung masasuggest ng psychologist natin kasi sila ang expert dito. Yung Hogan Personality Inventory. Sir Aldrin, with regards to the recruitment dilemmas po, can you give ways to avoid or solve them? Thank you. Yung dilemma natin on number 1 when it comes to yung dilemma nga kung sa alternative ng hiring. It's up for the company kasi parang you need to consider the financial status of the company. And then, next is yung capacity in terms of the capacity of the workforce in terms of the workload. And from there, you can determine if kaya pa bang dagdagan yung workload ng workforce and then mag-a-add na lang ng little cost on dun sa patong ng bayad nila, or hindi na talaga necessary and this specific position will add additional output to the company kaya kailangan ma-hire. So ang daming considerations when it comes to the alternatives in recruitment. And then, even dun sa operational cost din, ganun din yung tinitignan. We look into the financial statement of the company and then what is the expected ba na ROI when you hire that certain person. Yung ROI ba is kaya i-compensate kung ano yung mawawala na cost sa company. And then, next, sa nepotism, hirap kasing i-address yun. Pero, as individuals or as HR professionals, maybe sa part natin, dun magsisimula na we don't practice it or like we don't do it. Para kung may makita man sa atin na hindi natin ginagawa and then maganda yung output, then at least we can show na it's better pala to hire or to do the process ng ginagawa mo kung ano yung tama. With regards to the economy and labor market, ganun na talaga yun. Kasi sometimes the economy is strong, sometimes the economy is weak. And dun lang naman tayo nakabase. And then last, with the social political issues, we just stick with what is the company culture or what is the company values. Ano nga ba yung prinsipyo ng company? Basta what we always think about is that we are not stepping on other person's foot or other person's back or other person's goals and aspirations in life. Yun yung masasabi ko po. Ayun. So next, do you use personality test? Because personality plays a vital role also in achieving a goal. So Sir Josh Emmanuel, iba-iba kasi yung personality test or psychological test na ginagamit ng organization. If you feel that it fits your company or it fits your goal, mission, objective in hiring, do make use of it. Kasi yun nga yung sinasabi na we have different strokes for different folks. Some which is applicable to this company may not be applicable to this company. So if you think that Ocean Test can help you in your recruitment process, proceed sir, go on. Kasi kayo din sa company nyo ang nakakaalam at nakakakita na ito yung personality test na makakatulong sa akin. Wala pong, for me, there is no right or wrong test so long as you know how to utilize or maximize the result of the test. And then next, how about nasa sales? Best psychological insult. Best psychological insult. When we're talking about sales, it's more on relationship with individuals. Din kasi. It's more on maintaining relationship and then handling money and then retaining relationships and then retaining clients. So, para sa akin, pwede na ang Myers-Briggs. Myers-Briggs yung pina-exam sa akin nung uh, nag-apply ako as sales representative. Pero it's more on medical kasi yun. Pina-exam yun sa akin pero hindi ko tinuloy yung final interview with that company. Pero halos lahat ng napag-applyan ko sa Manila, Myers-Briggs yung pinasagot sa akin nung sales na even with sa lahat ng mga companies na in-applyan ko. Yung sa ano po, yung sa mga psychological test. Hindi ako psychologist kaya parang I'm just relying on my experience. So it's best for if you consult a psychologist so that he or she will determine the perfect test for that certain position or that certain job. Okay, in cases po where the applicant suddenly withdraws tapos nakasign na ng contract and ready to deploy na tapos wala kang second candidate, how can you deal with that? Ma'am Erica, can you better expand yung case? Like ano yung reason niya ba't bigla siyang nag-withdraw after signing the contract and kung ano yung stipulated sa contract? Kasi pinaghirapan niya. So, meaning mag-isa niyang applicant dito. In general. In cases like this kasi, ma'am, we'll seldom encounter this one that magwi-withdraw after nakasign na ng contract. Is ready na to deploy. And then walang second candidate. Especially dito sa Pilipinas na maraming naghahanap ng trabaho. But in cases like this kasi, we can file for damages pero knowing the process here in the Philippines, it will be long. Parang my best advice na lang, if the position is urgent, you need to repost it again or you need to look into yung mga previous applicants sa mga positions. And this in one of the companies I worked with in the past, kinikip nila yung records ng mga applicants. And then, sometimes, if may nag-withdraw or like, hindi tinatanggap yung position, they will just dive into the historical data, into the historical profile, and then titignan nila or i-rate nila yung mga results ng mga tests and exams. And then from there, pwede silang kumuha ng ipapalit. They just need to contact that person or that individual. And then, konting verifications and then konting exam if they want to proceed. And then afterwards, nakakakuha naman. So that's the importance of um, having a file or having a record of the previous applicants kasi baka naghahanap pa sila ng work. So, yun yung mas better na remedy for me aside from filing damages because first and foremost, filing damages mahabang process yan. It's a longer process rather than kalkalin mo yung record and then tanungin mo yung tao if they're willing to be employed. Ayun, thank you very much, Ma'am Christine. Let me read. That's why it's important to have a pool of candidates just in case your first candidate back out. Yes. Next, how can we achieve teamwork in a toxic environment? Magkakaiba kasi yung approach when it comes to achieving teamwork. Especially that if the environment is toxic anymore, it's very hard to achieve teamwork. But one of the thing I guess that a team can do is first conduct team building activities and then confront the problem, like open up everything, tell everything, and then discuss or like sit into the center or talk about the problem and then resolve it or have a resolution. If it can be solved, then it's good. You can work it out as a team. But if it cannot be solved, but if the environment is still toxic after all the resolutions and the talks, maybe ang masasabi ko na lang is for that team to part ways because toxic environment is not only taxing for the team, but it's also taxing to the individuals who are together. It's taxing to the health and taxing to the unit and the company. So sometimes, hindi natin kailangan na harapin yung problema pagkatapos mong harapin tapos hindi naman pala na-solve. Sometimes the best way to address the toxic environment, especially if it's taxing already to the individuals, is just let it go. Ano pa yung questions na hindi ko? Totoo po ba after pandemic, naging tamad ang mga tao kaya unti na lang ang naghahanap ng work? I think hindi naman po naging tamad. It's just that pandemic has taught us that we can also work online or virtually. That is why in jobs requiring physical presence, parang mas onti na. Kasi more on nag-online na po. Nag-online application na yung workforce natin. Yes, narinig ko na yung sa resume reduction and by recruitment. Mhm. Ang Gen Z kasi, Ma'am Arlene, is ang hirap i-address na ano, na generation. So, parang when it comes to communication, um, paano ba 'to? Kasi ano na, generation-wise 'no. 'Pag Generation Z kasi ang hirap na sa communication, pero, ah, parang mas maganda yung approach mo is motherly. Kasi yung Generation Z, majority of them, especially kapag, um, well-off or yung sinasabi sa buhay is hindi na masyadong natututukan when it comes hindi na sila masyadong natututukan. So, it will be great if they will experience parental type of leadership. Kasi yun nga, sa mga generation forward, they are too advanced when it comes to technologies and academics, but due to this or due to the technology, sometimes you already lack communication. That is why sometimes we can like craft team building activities wherein makakat sila from technology or makakat kami from technology for us to be able to catch up with the nature or with the other things in life. Especially na kung sa city kasi ang fast pace ng buhay. So, parang maganda rin na yung sa team building is ipa-realize din sa kanila na it's not only technology or it's not only the work that runs the world, but hey, there are other things that you can do. And it's better that um, somebody needs to start the communication with them. Kasi yun nga, dahil too engrossed or too nakadikit na lagi sa technology, parang nakakalimutan mo ng communicate sa ibang tao. Kasi you feel connected already with the world through the technology, but yun yung naiwan or that's the consequence of having advanced technology. Okay na po ba, Ma'am Arlene? Why do other companies, organizations select applicants who are close to them than the more competent applicants that fits a position, especially in government offices or agencies? So, ito yung masaklap, Sir Almerol, that there are people who practice nepotism or the padrino system or like the palakasan system. Yun yung laging nakikita natin dito sa Pilipinas. It has been a long practice na ang hirap tanggalin kasi andyan na eh. Parang it's already there. So yun lang yung nakikita kong reason, sir, kung bakit minsan napipili yung hindi naman competent pero andyan yung nag-apply na may ganitong qualifications. It's because of that malpractice here in the country. So siguro, isa sa pwede nating gawin against nepotism, because me, I don't agree with nepotism, even with the palakasin system, is that we don't do it as an individual. Because it's, ang hirap din banggain nun, eh, parang sindikato. So, it starts within us. As individual, we do not do it. Or like we show others that we are not doing it. Parang simple as that for me. Yes, Miss Christine. Tama. Um, HR, yes, companies or HR need to think of ways to bridge the generation gap kasi ang hirap. Ang layo din po. Iba-iba yung ugali per generation like the baby boomers and then Gen Z, Gen X, Gen Y, kaming mga millennials, tapos may centennial, tapos may generation alpha. Hindi ko na alam kung ano susunod. So, that's the challenge right now of companies in HR. Paano nila pagsasalubungin yung nanggaling sa napaka-old na generation sa napakabata, given na iba-iba yung trend and iba-iba yung values and principles na kinakaharap nila. In cases po, like may isang job recruitment, lahat kayo dumaan sa process and nalaman mo po na yung hire is my connection, my family sa loob ng company. Like so. Ma'am Renally, meron naman, you can approach Dole given this case. Basta ang importante when we want to file a case or we want to file a complaint against a certain process or against a certain act which is committed by companies or organization, we have proof, written proof, which will really prove na na-commit yung action na yun. So you can report that company sa DOLE together with the proof, and then it's DOLE na magre-reprimand na sa company na yun. Iba-iba din kasi yung case or iba-iba yung case na pwedeng i-file kapag may company na nag-commit nun. So kay Ma'am Miriam, how are we going to motivate an unmotivated employee? Ang dami kasing instances na nalulus ng tao yung motivation niya. It's whether with the environment or the work environment, or baka may problem sa family niya, o baka may gusto siyang may gusto siyang malaman, or may gusto siyang gawin pa. So parang kailangan nating malaman kung ano yung source ng pagkawala ng motivation ng isang employee. And then we also need to know kung ano yung factors of motivation niya. Kasi ang tao iba-iba yung motivation. Meron dyan na motivate ng pera. Meron dyan na motivate ng compensation, na motivate ng reward. So we must identify also kung ano yung motivating factors ng individual and kung ano yung nagkukos ng pagkawala ng motivation niya para alam natin kung paano yun i-address. So, iba-iba yung magiging strokes natin. It's not a one approach technique or activity. It's different. It's like, for example, for women or for females, like, sige, i-relate natin. In love, we have different love language. So, we need to identify din. Baka pwedeng gamitin natin kung ano yung love language ng person to motivate them or ano yung nag-motivate sa kanya. Kung yung family niya, you can give her time of him or time of it, his family. Baka yun yung kailangan niya. So, yun yung crucial when it comes to motivating individual. We must know first kung ano yung motivation niya and ano yung nag-demotivate sa kanya bago natin malaman kung paano natin siya i-motivate. Thank you very much, Ma'am Christine. The root cause analysis, yes. Question, what if it is a government agency? Tapos clearly stated po sa PDS na dininay niya na not affiliated siya to anyone in government board. a PDS kasi personal data sheet that is a public document. Kapag kasi naglagay ka doon ng false is that it might cost you another case which is falsification of public document. Kasi pina-file mo yun. Kung makikita natin ang PDS may part doon na parang it's an oath. Tapos pinapanotarize pa natin yun sa competent authority. So I think with that case, pwedeng ilapit din yun sa CSC, Civil Service. Kasi hindi lang yung sa labor code o hindi lang yung sa yung parang violation. The other one is dininay niya or parang naglying siya, nagsinungaling siya na hindi siya related sa government employee po na yun. May clarifications pa po ba? With regards to the psychological test, I suggest na we consult psychologists kasi mas makakapagbigay sila ng credible test na we can administer to to our applicants. And also, I suggest na psychologist yung mag-interpret ng results ng psychological tests para mas ma-explain nila or mas alam nila kung paano i-address or saan babagay yung individual na yun. May katanungan pa po ba? Or may hindi ba ako nasagot na tanong?
I think, Mom, that is the last question that we have from our participants. Now,
Balik tayo sa slide.
sige, Ma'am.
Kung wala nang tanong.
Okay. I think, Mom, that is the last question talaga that we have from our
Thank you, Ma'am.
think every participants who raised their questions
Ayun.
or their concerns. Thus, that now concludes our question and answer portion.
Ayun. May parting lang ako.
Sige lang po.
May parting quote ako since ginamit natin si Google. Let me quote yung line ng president nila. Ay, CEO pala. The Chief Executive of Google, Sundar Pichai. A diverse mix of voices leads to better discussions, decisions, and outcomes for everyone. So I do hope that you were able to learn something from our discussion today. And thank you very much for those who participated. And I do hope na mag-participate pa kayo sa upcoming ADAL Cordilleras.
Indeed, para po magkaroon tayo ng better goals and better achievements in our company or organizations. Thank you so much again, Ma'am Jazz. Now let us proceed to the awarding ceremony. Okay. I will just read the citation. Cordilleras Club certificate of appreciation is given to Isabel for her invaluable contribution. Wait lang po. Okay. For her invaluable contribution as the resource person for Adult Cordillera Episode 37, entitled Recruitment Guide, Finding the Right People for the Team. Organized by the Cordillera Young Leaders Club on December 21, 2024. Your service, ma'am, helped in forwarding the goal of the organization by discussing timely and relevant topics through online information sharing. Given this 21st day of December 2024 at Baguio City, signed by our beloved President Jessica L. Bilat. Ayan. Once again, Mom, thank you so much for your time and efforts for discussing regarding recruitment. And I hope that each and every participant has learned a one or two, hindi lang po sana one or two, guys. I hope that you have learned a lot during Mom Jess discussion, because especially that most of our participants here are part of the human resource department, and I hope that all of the learnings that we have learned today will put it into action and into mind. Once again, thank you so much. And okay, now I think the evaluation form is ready to scan already on your screens, or you can just copy the link of the evaluation that is sent through the chat box. Once again, please scan the QR code or the link sent to our chat box, as it will serve as your basis for your certificates. Okay? Okay. Once again, please scan our evaluation form or just copy the link that is sent through our chat box. We have also here Panagyaman. Thanksgiving for our avid participants. So it is a offer which will you be having for episodes 26 to 50 for our participants who joined at least 10 episodes. Kaya po sa ating mga first-time joiners sa ating Adult Cordillera, I think it is time to join more Adult Cordillera. Avail po natin ang panagyaman, Thanksgiving for our avid participants. So more information can be seen through our Facebook pages, which is Cordillera Young Leaders Club or Adult Cordillera. Okay? I think that's thank you everyone. Thank you to Cordillera Leaders Club and to the team behind Adult Cordillera for having, this kind of program or event that shares a platform for different topics, that can be shared not only here in the Cordillera region but also here in the Philippines. And also, once again, thank you so much, Ma'am Jess, for that invaluable insights and sharing that you have shared to us for tonight. And also, of course, to our participants, thank you so much po for joining our Adult Cordillera episode 37. So without your participation and participation for tonight, hindi po magiging successful ang ating Adult Cordillera for tonight. And I hope that I will see you guys. Ayan. I will see you more on our more Adult Cordillera episodes. And before we bid our farewell, I would like to request for a photo documentation. So may I request everyone to please turn on their cameras and give your best smile. Okay. Once again, may I request everyone to please turn on their cameras as we will have our photo documentation.